Have you ever been studying an herb and became frustrated with the fact that all the resources that you were finding kind of almost repeated each other? Like they were stopping at the surface level and not going any deeper. You weren't getting the physiology behind the herb and why that herb is useful in certain situations and what it's doing in your body. I know that I definitely have been struggling with this for years. This is something that I found very frustrating because, don't get me wrong, I love the traditional use, I love the surface level stuff, and I even teach the surface level stuff. But I do enjoy going to that deeper level of understanding what the herbs are doing in our bodies. So here on this channel, I'll be focusing more on doing those deep dives in the research and finding out why you would reach for one herb over another. So for example, in the liver, if you go on Google and you search like which herbs are good for the liver, you're going to come up with a whole list of herbs. The problem most people face is which one do you use and why. So for a quick example, because I've been doing a lot of research on the liver this month, an example that I have is milk thistle and dandelion. They both show up on the liver list, and they both are great for the liver in certain ways, but at a physiology level they work very differently. Your milk thistle is going to integrate in with your liver cells, and it fortifies that liver to be able to, those cells won't break down as easily as it's detoxifying, because all the spent hormones and the toxins that the liver is working on packaging up to get out of the body are very, very toxic. You know, they break things down and they harm the cells in our body. That's why the liver is trying to get rid of them. And so the milk thistle, that the silymarin in the milk thistle will come in and it will integrate in with the cells at a cellular level, and it will make them stronger and make it so they don't break down as fast. So if you are experiencing a lot of liver issues, if you've been diagnosed with any liver diseases, things like that, that's where that milk thistle plant is going to come in handy, because it is going to strengthen your liver and make it so that it doesn't break down as easily. Whereas a lot of other people that aren't experiencing liver disease, they just want to help support the detoxification of their liver, they might reach for dandelion, because dandelion works through a whole different pathway. It addresses the bitter reflex, and what that does is it stimulates secretions of like bile and acids and things like that in our digestive tract that helps the liver run more smoothly and efficiently, and it will create extra bile to be able to package up these toxins and get them out. So you have two different herbs that are on the same list, and they are doing two very different things. And that's the type of knowledge that I was wanting to find. And it was very difficult to find that on just your average herbal resources. And so I started doing a lot of research, actually reading like research articles and figuring out the physiology behind the herbs, and just started compiling it all so that I could have it as my own reference, because I wasn't finding the depth I wanted. And then I decided that I wanted to start teaching this, because I get so excited when I learn these things. I'm constantly learning something new through my research almost every single day, and I get so excited to share it. So I really wanted to create an herbal reference guide or resource, basically, to be able to have other herbalists that crave that depth to be able to come here and know that they're going to find it. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing on this channel is going to add that depth. I do have a lot of information, so don't get too overwhelmed, because even myself, as I'm researching this is why I like to write it all down and organize it in a way that I can come back to it and reference it, because there's no way to remember all of this, and there's no way to be able to do all of it correctly, even if you have read the research or the articles or watched the videos. There's no way to be able to retain all this information. So I'm trying to put it together in a way that makes it almost like a reference for you guys and myself. So as a beginner herbalist, if you're here as a beginner, even a seasoned herbalist, if you start feeling overwhelmed, I just want you to know, take a step back, because there is so much information. Nobody will ever know everything about every single herb and be able to apply that knowledge perfectly every single time. And when you come to a page like mine or the channel like mine, and I'm speaking about all these herbs and exactly how they're working in our bodies and when you would want to use them versus another one, it's very easy to get in your head and start second guessing your own choices. And I want to highly discourage that. I don't want you guys to be second guessing yourselves, because all of us start in the same spot. I started 17 years ago. I started knowing nothing about herbs whatsoever, and I just searched what herb will help with inflammation in the digestive tract. And I came across slippery elm. I took it. It worked. And now I know more about slippery elm, but not just slippery elm, but many other herbs that work very similar ways that I could have reached for any of those as well. But the point is that I used the herb, I saw the benefit, it helped with the symptoms I was experiencing, and that is something that is so much more valuable than reading about an herb, about the perfect way to use the herb. So yeah, continue Googling what herbs are good for the liver, and then just start picking herbs off that list and start using them in your body. See if they work with the symptoms that you are experiencing. See if they relieve anything. See if they cause any other issues. See if they don't work at all. And you start documenting on your own what you're experiencing. And that is by far the best way to learn herbalism. What I'm doing here is just adding that extra layer of depth for those that are more curious about what is actually happening in the body, and those that want to have a reference where they can come back and maybe choose an herb that is a little bit more, what would be the right word for that? Be a little bit more efficient at addressing certain symptoms. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with this type of information. I just want you to follow me along for the journey and just enjoy these deep dives that I do. I'll also have different foraging, garden stuff, harvesting, any experiments that I do with herbs, and just keep you guys caught up on my research. But welcome to the channel.